You may have always thought that your choices and decisions would lead to one path or another path, and that you could control your paths through the choices and decisions that you made. And you may look back on your life and you might say, well, if I had made better choices and decisions, I would have come to a better place in life. I would have gotten what I thought I lacked. I would have had more control. I'd have more ease and more comfort and even more abundance and even freedom. Well, this is not really the case. This is the illusion that's going on here. Your choices, decisions, and actions are based on your perspective. How you see yourself will determine which choices, decisions, and actions can come to you. If you raise that perspective, you will have higher quality choices, decisions, and actions, not better, not by any means better, because every choice, decision, and action you've ever taken has led perfectly to where you are now. And we promise you, you would not change a thing. If you drop your perspective, if you perceive yourself as a victim, you'd have a whole different set of choices, decisions, and actions to take. And you would take those choices and those decisions and those actions that would lead to experiences that would always, always, always give you the opportunity to raise your perspective, to see the perfection. Yet when you're existing in the lower densities in a state of fear, you can't really see what's going on. The illusion is very thick down there. And that's part of this game, because you come through this reality to play around with these possibilities of choices and different decisions and different actions you could or could not take. You play around with this perceived lack of abundance, perceived lack of freedom, perceived lot in life. Well, none of that's true. You are a magnificent, eternal, limitless being, and you wanted to come into this interesting reality, this challenging reality, to see what could you become, not knowing who you are, not remembering you're connected, feeling isolated and individual, perceiving that there are limitations imposed on you, and never realizing that those limitations were all self-imposed, always. And so you come in and you are this powerful and energetic being, having done this many times before. You set up the time and place of your birth and the body and the family you were born into and all the conditions of your youth. And you have a set of intentions, very powerful intentions. You have an idea of what you would like to experience. And you knew that that experience would not only shape the human version of you, but certainly the non-physical version of you as well. It would expand that version. It would expand all that is. And you come in to play this very exciting game at this time of awakening to see what you could become. You don't have to become anything. You can live the life you're living now perfectly happy. You can enjoy every single aspect of this reality fully without ever having to become anything. Well, what could you become? That's the unknown. That's the unimaginable. What could you become if you had a massive shift in perspective in one lifetime? If you came in feeling like a victim and setting your conditions of your youth up so that you would really, really, really believe in limitation, and then going on this journey, on this ride, through experience after experience after experience, through choices and decisions that were the only ones available to you at the time, and then raising that perspective, finding this information, doing things differently than others are doing, thinking things in a new way, and then seeing yourself more and more and more. And as you do, you rise up through these densities where you gain more clarity and more confidence. And you understand maybe it's not the way everyone else thinks it is. Maybe this reality does not play by the rules that have been established by those who've come before, those who have been living in fear in the more dense areas of this reality, more limitation, more lack. Maybe as humanity evolves, humanity lifts itself out of the lower densities. And those of you who are on this call now, or those of you listening at a later date, are the ones who would come through to be on the leading edge of thought, and then to practice these ideas and to play with them and to converse amongst yourselves about what could be possible for you, something outside of the box, of the norm, of what everyone else thinks is going on here. What could you become? not what you've seen others do before, not in a way that society would say is good or prestigious or would get you what you think you lack, not in a way that a victim might look at it saying that if I make my conditions look really nice, that I'll feel good, because that doesn't work. But what if you could connect to your own inner self, to your own guides and supporters, and to receive more inspiration and then act on more inspiration? And then when you make a decision, you understand it's the only decision you could have made from that perspective. And so you go through that experience and you look at that experience. There must be something there in it for me. There must be some information that I can glean from this experience. And then when you have the experience, you raise your perspective, you look back and you see the experience as perfect, no matter what happened, no matter what decision led to what experience. You do not regret or resent anything in the past. You understand that everything is perfect and that it's leading me not to where I think I want to go, but to where I truly want to go. How do you know where you truly want to go? Well, you truly want to go to a place where you can see yourself more accurately, where you can see reality more accurately. And in that place, you will feel good. Why? Because your basic guidance system is, if you're perceiving reality accurately, you will feel positive emotion. If you're perceiving reality inaccurately, you'll receive what you call negative emotion. And so by default, as you rise up in perspective, you will feel better and better and better and better. And you'll get more sensitive. Sensitivity is a superpower. If you understand that, then you can be aware that as you rise up in density, those aspects of your identity that are not true, that are simply limiting, will have to be dealt with, will have to come to your attention, will have to be processed, and will have to fall away, because you cannot hold on to judgment as you rise up in density. You cannot hold on to regret, resentment, fear of the future, or any of that. You have to understand that you're all one, because you're moving from fear to love, from separation to oneness, from what you think you lack to everything you truly want. And all of it is on the other side of your fear, because it's the fear that's holding you down, the fear that's more prevalent in the lower densities, the fear that's more prevalent when you lack information, when you believe in separation, when you believe in limitation. When you don't believe in that, well, then you're going to have to face decisions and choices and actions that are quite different from what you would face now, because they will be leading you not to where you think you want to go, not to some ideal you have in your mind, not to some comfy little life that you think might be great, but to the unknown. You're explorers. That's where you want to be. The known has no true interest to you. It gets boring. This is why you're in this reality instead of any other reality, because there is so much to learn, so much to experience, and so much new that's available for you here. You couldn't be here if you were not built for this reality. You couldn't be here if you were not powerful intenders with vast amounts of experience. So revel in who you are, revel in who each other is, revel in this entire consciousness of humanity, the whole lot of you, because you're all one, and this is what you're coming to understand. And with that, we'd like to talk to you about anything you'd like to talk about. Who would like to start?